Hi besties, how's it going? Hopefully you're having a lovely day and all of that. This is a community stream, and normally I just put some music on for you to sort of listen to while we're watching me pack stuff or do whatever, because obviously I'm in Vegas at the moment and I'm recording this on the 14th, so a couple days before I go. I'm so excited, but I am so unprepared, unbelievably unprepared. Like, I haven't even thought about anything. I know I've got my Esther sorted, I know I've saved up all the money and all of that stuff, so I am technically ready. I think I just never feel ready until my bag is packed and I haven't sort of emotionally prepared for it all. So by that I mean sort of finished all my orders and stuff like that. But what's really good is the Etsy store's really quiet at the moment, super quiet. I've only actually got 3 open orders and 1 order I've got to fix because I keep on doing it for some reason. I keep on going from subject to subject. I'll get back to what I was talking about in a sec, but anyway, I keep on, when I print off an order, all the pink stuff looks the same to me. So pink paisley, sakura, the pink what's it called, the see-through ones, what are they called, the vellum ones, they all look the same to me and I never read the description. So I sent out an order that was all pink paisley. And anyway, I've got to correct that. But anyway, I will be able to finish all my orders, leave everything on 0 before I go, which is a wonderful thing. And I'm really pleased and excited about that. But so just looking forward to it. Anyway, what you're watching right now is I am packing Patreon. So this is the Hoppy Easter collection. I'm really pleased with it. As you can see, I just love doing this. I love packing my Patreon orders. As you can see that I'm sending out some daisies and some Easter eggs towards the end for the higher tiers as well. And that's what I'm doing. So anyway, what I wanted to talk to you about today is I'm thinking of, look, Easter egg. Isn't I so nice? It's polystyrene. It's not chocolate, by the way. But what I want to talk to you about today is I am thinking of sort of doing a maybe weekly, maybe bi-weekly podcast sort of situation where I sit down and talk to you about absolutely random stuff. And my reasoning is I think it's going to be good for me in terms of just getting thoughts out and stuff like that. So, even if nobody listens to this podcast or whatever it's going to be, it's okay, because I think it's a more for me thing. And I know that a lot of you actually watch my videos over and over again and they actually use my voice to fall asleep to, which is not I don't feel bad about that. It's absolutely cool that you can do that to my voice, because I've got plenty of YouTube channels that I will rinse and repeat their videos and fall asleep to them because I'm so used to them. But yeah, I'm thinking about doing a sort of probably fortnightly sort of podcast. I don't know how this sounds. I'm just recording it on my notes app, and I don't actually know if I'm going to manage to talk for the full 40 minutes that this video goes on for, but I'm thinking that this would be a Patreon exclusive thing. So something that, yes, it would be behind a paywall, but I guess it's more to sort of protect myself and make me sort of feel like it's worthwhile, because I don't want to have something that I start and don't finish. So yeah, I'm thinking about that. I think every sort of 2 weeks we'll have a different topic that I'll talk about. So I guess what would be really cool is I can start out the podcast by talking about, what people said in the comments from the previous ones, replying to them and all that sort of stuff. So if you've got a question or anything you want to add, drop it underneath this video so that I can sort of reply to you in the next one. I think each one will probably have a theme as well. So I'll talk about absolutely random stuff that interests me, stuff that I'm excited about. And I think what I'll probably do next one is talk about how my holiday went, how much I enjoyed that, and all that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm thinking about doing. So I'd love to know your thoughts down below. Obviously it's not going to be money based. I'm not going to be like, you know, and I know that I am not that type of person that, acts like they're some sort of money guru and they know everything about saving money and everything about this and that. I'm just figuring it out the same as you, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. I'm just trying to figure it out as well. It just so happens that I make nice things, so I guess it's just that. So I don't think it's going to be a money situation. I think I'm just going to talk about me and my life. So if you're interested in that, that's going to be on Patreon, and I know that it sucks that it's behind a paywall, but the paywall is $1. Like, if you can afford $1 to get like 2 podcasts a month, I think that's definitely worth it. But yeah, going back to this video, have you clocked my watch strap? I went around my friends the other day, the day that I get my tattoo done. It's actually in this place called Leon Solent, which is near Portsmouth. So it's about an hour and 10-minute drive away from me. And I know Leon Solent because I take my nephews and nieces there, and we have these ice creams that are like half strawberry, half vanilla. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like a Mr. Whippy that's half strawberry, half vanilla. Absolutely delicious. But I get half banana, half chocolate, and it comes out the machine like that. It's absolutely incredible. But yeah, it's on the sea, but it's a pebble beach, but it's really nice, especially in the summer and like late spring when it starts to get a bit warm. But anyway, that's my friend lives near Portsmouth. And yeah, I always see her after that, and her kids are my nephews and nieces. And yeah, I noticed that she had a gold Apple Watch, and I was immediately jealous. I think it's just so nice, and I think it looks really nice on me. I'm really pleased with how my tattoos started to come along. You can probably see that this was a couple days after, and it, parts of it look a little bit red and a little bit sore, but this third part of the tattoo was the least painful of them. I didn't like that I had to lay on my front for this one because they were getting like the back of my arm, so I had to lay on my front for like a couple of hours, and it's quite, I don't know, it's just a bit uncomfortable. I like to see it being done. I like to sit down and watch it being done. But yeah, like that was uncomfortable. But in terms of the healing, I've had no itchiness. I haven't like wanted to scratch at it or anything like that. I'm generally really good at looking after it because I know how expensive it is. My next session is on the 7th. I'm driving back down there, but I'm having an all-day session, and an all-day session means it's like 5 or 6 hours. So it's like 11 till like 4 or 5, depending on how much I can handle. I have been, because this is like generally my first tattoos, I don't really know where my pain threshold is, but so far I've really enjoyed the experience, and I'm so glad that I waited till I was older, because if I got tattoos when I was like wanting tattoos, like in my teens and 20s, I'd have got just the most stupid things. I really wanted this big bat on my arm, and while I still want bats tattooed on me, I probably would have regretted a great big bat. And specifically, the bat that I wanted was, if you watch The Nightmare Before Christmas, when Jack is just leaving Halloween Town and the mayor comes round to his house to be like, "Where are you, Jack?" He's got his plans for next Halloween, and he's got a drawing of a bat on a piece of paper, and it's like a really interestingly drawn bat. So like, if you watch Nightmare Before Christmas, like pause on that bit. That's the bat that I wanted, and that's the type of bat that I always draw. But anyway, I wouldn't want that now because I've watched Nightmare Before Christmas so many times now that it's not a favourite film of mine anymore. It's I don't know, I've got kind of bored of it, which is weird because there are films that I will watch over and over and over again, like Practical Magic and things like that, and I will never get bored of them. But I think I really overdid Nightmare Before Christmas, especially because I think when I went to uni, it was like almost my personality. It is like my favorite thing in the world, and no one had really seen it. It wasn't ever a popular Disney film or anything like that. So I'd make people watch it and they'd be like, yeah, I guess it's all right. And I'm like, it's incredible. And I'd watch it over and over again. I also did that with Brokeback Mountain. Like, I can't watch that again, but I remember really, really enjoying it the first time I watched it. But anyway, look at this. I remember to do Patreon mail stickers, which is really good. I've heard reports that all the UK people have got their Patreon stuff, and they're just starting to filter into America, not Australia yet as well, which is cool. I generally do it in batches as well, so you can see that it's all the same sorts of stuff going in. It just works out for me. This is probably one of our smaller Patreon launches in a while. And I think that's more because it's the start of the year. People are starting to really evaluate where they want to spend their money, and I fully support that. I think it's a great thing. So if it isn't quite working for you, then it's not working for you. But it's always going to be there. And I do notice that people leave and then come back. I don't think it's anything that anybody doesn't feel that it's of value, which is good. But anyway, Patreon, talking about Patreon again, I am going to start putting much more content on there, just because I feel like, while I know that the offer of Patreon is really, really good, I think, you know, what you sort of get in terms of your discount off the Etsy store, what you get in terms of the cash stuffing that we do together, there's not much exclusive stuff on there, and I just wanted it to be like a cooler place for us to hang out with each other. So sort of content that's going to go on there are vlogs that I don't really want to share with the internet, but I like sharing. Does that make sense? So it's not, so basically, like a holiday vlog for me is a way for me to diarize me going on holiday, but I don't really feel like it has a place on Budget with Ira, and it doesn't make sense. I don't really want to share it with how do I put this? Like random people on Don't Trust Ira, because Don't Trust Ira is like a new channel, and it's because it's so new, it's got like a smaller amount of people. Like Budget with Ira gets shared to people. It's quite well seasoned in the fact that it gets shared to people that are into cash stuffing and budgeting, right? So it doesn't make sense. It'll make the channel perform poorly, right? But on Don't Trust Ira, it's such a new channel with such a small following, with people that will just, you're into what I do, so you'll essentially watch everything on Don't Trust Ira. But because of that, it gets put out to like everybody, and I don't really want that for like something as personal as a travel vlog. I'm not like a travel-y vloggy type of person, but it makes sense to me to go on Patreon. What was I talking about? I completely lost my train of thought. But anyway, we're going to start seeing like a lot more sort of stuff on Patreon. So I'm thinking about like not so edited videos, seeing stuff before it gets cut up and edited. I've got some thoughts about, obviously this sort of podcast as well. And I've got some other thoughts about just sharing. I've got a mini vlog coming on Patreon. It's going to be a Patreon exclusive mini vlog, and it's going to be about how I film the video and concept and all of that when it comes to the collection videos. So it's going to be like a 10-minute vlog, like very, very short, very, very few edits, but I'm taking you through where I source my stuff from and how I make it and how I edit it and all that sort of stuff. So it's not a forever for anyone. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense to put that on Budget with Ira, because Budget with Ira really needs to be about the budgeting, keeping people motivated, keeping myself motivated. That's what Budget with Ira is about. Don't Trust Ira is about like having fun and anything but the budget. And we are going to start seeing some very, very, we're going to see some different videos on Don't Trust Ira, and I'll tell you about that in a sec. But the Patreon stuff is about how Budget with Ira works. It's kind of like the back end stuff. So if you're really interested in me and my business, then the Patreon, that's where it lives. So I'm looking at putting up a piece of content once a week at least on Patreon. And I don't want you to worry about me, because I know you're going to worry that I'm doing too much. This is sort of work that it takes me not very long to sort of do. Do you know what I mean? So it's like the sorts of things you'll see on Patreon are like an unedited video. So like you'll see like the raw footage, like that might be interesting to some of you, and it'll be about a week before the video even comes out, so it might be interesting to you. We'll see how well that does, but I'm not really too concerned about performance on the Patreon channel on Patreon, because it doesn't matter if only one person watches it, as long as one person has really enjoyed it. Like, that's cool for me. I think having a podcast where I can talk to you for about an hour every 2 weeks about random stuff and just kind of get stuff out of my head and talk to you about things that I love or things that I hate, if someone just puts that on in the car on their drive to work and enjoys it, then that's good for me. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I'm thinking about. In terms of Don't Trust Ira, I'm really want to start doing a video, and in my head I want to do a video a week, but that might not happen. It might be every 2 weeks, because I'm fast finding the 1 a week schedule on Budget with Ira isn't quite enough every week, because I always want to do a check-in video every week. I think that's really important for keeping me accountable, but then I also need to do consolidations. I also need to do the budget, and there's a place for other videos. So I think what I'm going to do is commit to 1 a week, but normally you're going to get 2 a week, I think is probably how it's going to go. And I'm going to really pay attention to how I'm feeling about it and stuff like that. So if it starts to feel burdensome and too difficult, then I'll just scale it back. But as long as that check-in happens, I think that's the important part. But anyway, going back to Don't Trust Ira, that's the place where I'm going to put random videos. So I've already got an idea, and I'm going to film it really soon for just something that I want to share with you. I don't imagine the video is going to do very well at all, but I sort of want to do more typical YouTuber videos. So just things that will make sense on that channel, because that channel is about being silly and having fun with stuff, and it doesn't necessarily need to be about budgeting. So while I am Budget with Ira, I'm also Ira. So Don't Trust Ira, you get a bit more Ira, and Patreon, you get much more Ira, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I didn't plan out. So like, this is like technically podcast number 1, where I just talk to you for 40 minutes. I'm already sort of struggling with things that I want to talk to you about, because what I'm fast understanding now is I kind of need to have written down somewhere some sort of talking points, things that I want to go through with you. So yeah, so anyway, this is what we're doing. I'm currently in my bedroom. I don't know if you can hear Simon and Gracie. They are about like lying on me, sort of wanting my attention, but I'm watching this with you. So yeah, I think that's all I really wanted to talk to you about today. So I guess I'm just going to talk to you about rubbish now. So yeah, this is the Hoppy Easter collection. I didn't know that this collection was going to be what this collection was. Somebody, when we were talking on a live, a couple of, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, we were talking about what we should do for this collection that we're going to design together. We ultimately have decided that we're going to do a back to school collection, which I'm really excited about. I think it's going to work out really nice. We already cut out the cash envelopes, and when I come back from my holiday next week, we're going to start making cash envelopes together, which is super fun. But what was I saying? So there's that Hobby Easter collection. It wasn't, what somebody said on the live like 2 weeks ago is, why don't you do a collection for each season? And in my head I was like, I'm already doing that, but this is kind of like your Easter one. And it could be spring. Patrons will know a little bit more than I'm gonna let on right now, but this is like your pastel one. It's very, very Eastery, but what I wanted to do with the cash envelopes is have maybe one that was very eggy, as in Easter eggy, like the binder is. I don't know how it could work for anything other than what it is. They are definitely Easter eggs. I don't know what else they could be, like, to be honest. So if you don't celebrate Easter, or if you don't like pastels, it's probably not a collection for you, but I just wanted to have it to have it. Does that make sense? So we've got an Easter collection, so nobody needs to ask for one. Do you know what I mean? And like, this is the type of collection that will hang around for a while, and for the people that are looking for it, when they find it, it's going to be perfect for them. We've always had collections that get snapped up really, really quickly. We've had collections that, you know, the day I put it out, all the cash envelopes are sold out like immediately. But we've got Hoppy Easter, which I know it has sold very well, to be honest, but it is going to be one of those collections that I'm going to have lots of binders like for a while. And, you know, when people find them, they love them. I've lost my train of thought already, but I'm definitely learning a lot about talking just randomly at you guys. I do need to come in with a plan for sure. But yeah, so this is like the Easter one, it's pastel. But anyway, what I was saying is the cash envelopes, the first one, so option A, is very Eastery, but all the ones after that are sort of like pastel plains. So if you're into, I don't know, for instance, green, you don't necessarily have to go do all of the slimy savings ones. You can get the green one out of this. You can get a slimy savings one. There's collections coming up in the future that have greens in them and stuff like that. And let's talk about that as well, because I think that was like one of my most healing things I did while I was off, is give myself like 10 less things to worry about. So what I did while I was off is I decided what all of the future collections are going to be. So they're all done. All of the big job of every collection is getting the binder done, because that has to be done so far in advance. Oh God, my cats. Do you hear that? They just argue for no reason. But anyway, the binders have to be done so far in advance because they're made in China, right? So I design them, upload what I need to upload, and they get done in China. So they generally take, I don't know, let's say I get 100 binders done. That'll generally take them about a week to print them all. But then if I get them shipped, there's 2 ways to get them shipped. So, well, 3. Rail is like, so I've got things lost by rail, so I don't do that anymore. But there's sea and air. So by air, that's a week. That just goes into cargo. That's a week. That's absolutely fine. So I can get binders done in like 2 to 3 weeks if I wanted a small amount by air. But the cost of China to the UK is horrendous. Like, I would need to really jack up the price to make it worth my while to do that. But by sea, it's much more affordable. We're talking like, I don't know, let's say for instance they cost me, I don't know, just randomly, let's say they cost me a £5 to be made. It would probably cost me about £1.50 per binder to be shipped by sea, which is very, very reasonable, but it takes so long. Sometimes they have to go around countries. Sometimes they have to wait in like canals for longer. Sometimes there's so many variables that you need to be so far in advance. So like, for instance, when we did the winter wishes, we had decided on what everyone's going to be in October. I couldn't get the binder to you early enough. I couldn't, like, even by air, I couldn't get it early enough, just because of like holidays and things taking a certain time to be made. Like, it takes forever. But anyway, the binders are all paid for all the year. So I've got all the binders up to June already, because I did some by air just to make sure that I've got them in time. But the rest of them are coming, and I'll have them by June for sure. So I don't know where I'm going to put them, but yeah, I've got them. I've also paid for the first set of binders for an advent calendar as well. We can talk about advent calendars later. For the advent calendar as well. So, and what I've done with this is there's going to be 100 of this advent calendar, but I've got 150 binders made because I know the binders are super, super popular out of the advent calendars. The amount of times people have asked me for a Cosmos binder and I'm like, I don't have one. Like, I don't even have one for myself. Do you know what I mean? But so anyway, yeah, that takes a long time. But also the actual making of the cash envelopes, even though I feel like I've got it down to a fine art now, like the amount of actual cash envelopes I've made in my lifetime is wild. Like, I don't know if it's like hundreds of thousands, but it is certainly thousands of cash envelopes. Like, if you think, I've done like 35,000 orders on Etsy at this point, which I'm so blessed and so thankful for. If you even said every order had one cash envelope, whereas some orders have 100 cash envelopes in, some orders have like 20, some orders have none. But like, if we even said every order has one cash envelope, that's at least 35,000 cash envelopes I've personally made by hand. And I've definitely made a lot of cash envelopes. So for each collection, I probably make about 600 cash envelopes. So while I was off, I made 10 collections, full collections with their cash envelopes. So that's 6,000, isn't it? 100 times, no, that's 100 times 10. No, 600 times 10 is 6,000. Plus I made cash envelopes for an advent calendar and I'm doing 100 of them. So whatever that is, 7,000. Yeah, 6,600. That's how many cash envelopes I made while I was off. And I definitely felt it. But I feel like I've got it down to a fine art. I've like really, I think, I don't know if I've spoke about it or anything like that. I think I did on the last live, but I've upgraded the materials I use inside. Like it's a definite fine line to play in terms of making cash envelopes, because you want to get the thickest material possible in terms of, you know, the types of laminating pouch that you use, but also the type of paper that you use. It's important to get it as thick as possible because it feels nicer, it's more robust, and it lasts longer. Because the worst thing is that you've got something that you love and it doesn't last 6 months, and then by the time, you know, if you want to replace it, they're not in stock anymore. That would be devastating. But also, you can't just get the thickest. You can't just laminate card, because by the time you've made 100 of them, you've buggered up the laminating machine. And they're temperamental as they are. They don't love being used for like literal hours on end. They're not. The laminating machines that I've got, they are very, very good. And it's really nice to see other budgeting shops are using the same. Like, it's nice to see that. Like, I kind of like that, but I kind of don't. Like, I don't want to gatekeep stuff, but I find it frustrating. This is something silly. Let me talk to you about it. I find it frustrating that I spend a lot of time and a lot of money on researching the best way to do stuff, and then I share with everybody, this is how I do it, and it's my own fault. I share with everybody, this is how I do it, and then you see in people's Instagram stories and stuff that they're using the same equipment for you, and maybe they have come to the same conclusion as you, but you've put it out on the internet. So I don't know why I get annoyed about it, but I'm like, I wish people would. It's annoying when you spend all of this money on like 10 different laminators to find the perfect one, and they haven't. They've just bought what you have. I suppose it's my own fault for sharing that, to be honest, and it shouldn't annoy me, but it doesn't most of the time, but sometimes it does. But anyway, what was I saying? I cannot keep a train of thought. I think I was talking about laminating pouches. I was definitely talking about the thing that I love is that everything's sort of done. So we've done all of the binders and we've done all of the laminated cash envelopes. So every sort of week or so, I'll order the next couple of booklets, the next couple of stickers, and the zipper inserts, and then it's all pretty much done. I've also done all of the dashboards and all of the savings challenges. So I've also done all of the listing pictures for them all as well. So, you know, we're so sorted that I can really focus on advent calendars now, which is really good. So what I will tell you right now, so if you've got to like this point, this is like half an hour in, besties, we're like half an hour into this. I can announce at this point is that there will be another Christmas in July advent calendar. There's going to be quite a few advent calendars this year, but not as many as last year. So there's going to be a Christmas in July advent calendar. It is going to be traditional. It is going to be Christmassy themed for sure, but a lot more cutesy than last year. So last year was very deep and dark and very, very traditional Christmas. This one's going to be red, green and white rather than red, green and gold. So it's much more cutesy. So it's going to have similar stuff to last year, but everything's going to be handmade. I'm not going to put in like the thing that I put in last year, which was a your wrapping paper cutter. I'm not going to put in anything like that. It is going to have the tree bauble. So I think that's going to be a nice tradition to uphold. But other than that, it's going to be essentially like a new thing, a completely different thing. It's going to be new. Everything's going to be stuff that you haven't seen before, like really, really nice stuff. So almost everything is already designed. I'm just going to work on bits and bobs nice and slowly. I'm going to really go into it after holiday. And I'll probably film bits as well, just to have like a bit of a vlog up for when it launches. So that's really exciting. So that's going to be something that sugar daddies are going to get. I am making 100 this time though. So last time I only made 75 and I had 50 sugar daddies at that point. I don't have 50 sugar daddies anymore, but I had 50 sugar daddies at that point. So I could only actually sell 25 and it's sold out in 2 hours. I think people really look forward to it. And I was kind of like sneaking about it and joking about it. So that's why that happened. So yeah, I'm making 100 this time just to see if they last a little bit longer. So hopefully they will. But yeah, it's really, really cute. I am still thinking about a Halloween one. There's going to be 2 at Christmas time. Different themes. I'll tell you about the themes like June time. I'm already pretty much set in my idea, but they're going to be different. They're not going to be Cosmos and Crystalmas. They're not going to be like that. They're going to be they're going to be something. They're going to be something else. Like I don't want to tell you too much. And then I do have another one after that. In terms of Secret Santa, there's going to be 1 Secret Santa. And it's I know what I'm doing. I'm really excited about it. So yeah, that's kind of what I've got coming up. In terms of other projects, I do have a couple of ideas. It's not like I'm reluctant. I think the last time I launched something big that was in my head, I got so excited about it. It was the postcards, and I felt a bit let down by things that happened. Let's say that. I just felt a bit let down by I don't know, I guess myself. I guess it was just more my reaction to it, and it kind of felt a little bit flat for me. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus on making everything as good as I possibly can. I'm going to focus on, if I've got an idea, just slowly let it out and not build it up and tease it and build it up into something bigger than what it is, because really I'm sort of treating, I suppose in my head when I launched the postcards, that was something that was in my head for ages. It was supposed to launch with the planners, my budgeting journey planners. It was supposed to be like, it was something like that was going to be like really big, and honestly it was like a year in the making, but things just cost so much to produce when you've got to produce as many as you've got to produce, that in my head, I thought this was going to, change the world. Everyone was going to love it. It was going to be incredible. And when I got like the slightest bit of criticism, it made me feel bad, but it was just criticism. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying, and I never will say, that these postcards are bad. Yes, they're not for everybody, but not everything I do is for everybody. Of course it's not. It can't be. I have so many products now that they can't all be for everybody because they're all so different. But anyway, I felt bad, but that's my own fault because I built it up to be something really big in my head, and I'm not saving lives. Do you know what I mean? I'm not saving the world. I couldn't do my job so poorly that somebody dies. Do you know what I mean? It's not gonna, I'm not changing the world. So I need to sort of cut myself a little bit of slack. And if something isn't like, if I get a little bit of pushback on something that I do, that's okay, because not everything's for everybody. As long as I'm happy with what I've produced, and I am, so all good. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. Oh, I've talked to you for ages, Bestie. So what are we going to talk about for the last 4 minutes? So I guess if you are listening to this and you've enjoyed this and you are not a Patreon, I would suggest signing up. There's loads of different levels, loads of different tiers. If you are unsure about what would be right for you, I'd recommend just joining at the Bestie tier. So that is £1, or I think it's like $1.30 for Americans and probably something close to $2 for Australians. You get access to absolutely everything. So I don't do any sort of discernment in terms of what content you can access and what you can access in terms of tier. So, the podcast, the sneak peeks, the cash stuffings, all of that stuff, anyone can access on that. So it doesn't matter if you give me £100 a month or if you give me £1 a month, you'll still be able to access all of that. The only real difference is, the level of the level of a discount you get on the store. So there's that. I want to sort of acknowledge as well before we go the patrons that have been with me for all of this. So I was really worried when I took some time off. I was really worried that I would lose my following, because for me, I always notice a difference in Etsy sales, specifically when I put videos out. So when I put out a video on a Friday, there's a spike on a Friday. When I put out a video on a Wednesday, there's a spike on the Wednesday. So I thought that without putting videos out, I wouldn't have any sales. And while that was partly true, I was really worried that I was going to lose patrons. And that is because for me, Patreon has always been very dependable money. It is a lot of money, but it's not so much of it goes back into the business that it's not all money for me. Do you know what I mean? But if it needed to be money for me, it could be money for me. Does that make sense? So I was worried that I was going to lose that, and so many of you stuck with me, whether that was because you felt sorry for me or whether that was because you knew I'd be back and you knew I'd be back on it. So many of you stuck with me, and I'm so thankful, because like I said it in another video, as I don't know if I would have been that kind to other creators. So like if there was someone that I was really into and they just stopped with very little explanation, I didn't know if they were going to come back or stuff like that, I don't know if I would have paid them that level of kindness. So I think it says a lot about the patrons that have stuck with me and stayed with me and done all, do you know what I mean? So like I don't think I'd ever tell you how much I appreciate you. And even though this is not like a Patreon exclusive video, I know this is going up on Don't Trust Ira. I know that this is going to be, we're going to have non-patrons listening to this, but hopefully you become patrons, because it's about to get very content heavy over there. And I don't want you to think, if you really don't have Patreon within your budget, I don't want you to think that we're gonna lose budget with Ira videos for the sake of me putting it behind a paywall. Like, that's not going to happen. There's still going to be the same level of budget with Ira videos. Like I said, it's either going to be 2 or 1 a week. In fact, we're going to have more videos on Don't Trust Ira. So we're going to have actual videos on Don't Trust Ira. I'm thinking at the moment, maybe 1 a month, maybe 1 every 2 weeks, maybe 1 a week, who knows. But like, that's my thought. So what this is it's content that I've always made but never shared. So it's going to be just more stuff on Patreon. So I hope you enjoy it, patrons. And if that's something that interests you and you've got a spare £1, I'm going, actually, I've got to go. But yeah, thanks. I'll see you soon. Bye.